For 800 years, the Ark of the Covenant was the most sacred and holy object in the world. Suddenly, in 586 BC, it disappeared. It was not until 1982 that its location was determined. The discovery is so electrifying and so politically explosive that the news has been kept secret for over 35 years. Even today, at the request of the host government, not all of the evidence can be revealed. In 1982, American amateur archaeologist Ron Wyatt claimed to have found the Ark of the Covenant, but he did not make his claim widely known. In fact, Ron had only told a few of his friends before the host government requested that he keep certain information confidential for the time being. So well was the secret kept that it was not until 1991 that Jonathan Gray, the author of this original article, learned of Ron's claimed discovery. With 3 decades of experience as an archaeological explorer, as well as a skeptic, they set out with a briefcase full of objections against Wyatt's claims. They set up a team with a task to spend 4 years investigating the alleged discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. They expected to disprove Ron Wyatt's claims quickly. However, after intense investigation, repeated visits to dig sites, and privileged viewing of evidence and artifacts, they were left totally convinced of the truth of this find. The result is the 600-page book, Ark of the Covenant. What follows is the story of this hugely significant discovery, according to the thorough investigation of the team that originally set out to disprove them. According to historical records, the Ark of the Covenant was constructed at the time of Moses, in the year 1446 BC, for the purpose of enshrining the 10 Commandments. These commandments were called the Words of the Covenant, hence the chest that contained them was called the Ark of the Covenant. The Hebrew word ark in this context means box. The ark was a wooden chest plated in gold. The lid was made of solid gold, and 2 statues of cherubim, one at each side, were also of solid gold. It is written in the Old Testament that the design was handed down by God. The Ark was revered by the Hebrews and people of surrounding nations who heard of supernatural events associated with it. Quite suddenly, however, the Ark disappeared from historical records. Long before Jonathan Gray got involved in the subject, there were speculations that the lost Ark was hidden anywhere from Ethiopia to Jordan to Ireland. There have been numerous attempts to find the secret hiding place of this famous treasure, many of them since the 1981 release of the Hollywood fantasy Raiders of the Lost Ark. The real thing had vanished at least 2,500 years ago. Its disappearance, according to some people, was the great mystery, that it had not been taken by the Babylonians or the Romans, and that it had not been destroyed. According to tradition, the Ark and other temple treasures remained hidden throughout the time of the Babylonian invasions, the 70-year exile of the Jews in Babylonia, and the entire Second Temple period. They remained hidden throughout the centuries while Jerusalem was under foreign domination, and they remain hidden to the present day. The Ark vanished between the 18th year of King Josiah, when it is recorded as having been moved back to King Solomon's temple, and 35 years later at the siege of Jerusalem, when the temple was destroyed by the Babylonians. The Ark was not recorded as one of the items seized and taken to Babylon. It is likely that the Ark was hidden just prior to the destruction of the temple. To have escaped seizure, the Ark would have to have been hidden outside the city, but it would have been impossible for the Hebrews to get the Ark out of the city while it was surrounded by the Babylonian army. However, it may have been possible for them to have secreted the Ark just outside the city, somewhere in the no-man's land between the opposing forces of the Hebrews and the Babylonians. Although never previously suspected, it was conceivable that the Ark of the Covenant could have been hidden in the vicinity that Wyatt had chosen. In January 1979, Ron Wyatt and his team began excavation in Jerusalem. Given the broad nature of the clues, they had little idea where to commence digging. The site that Wyatt selected was being used as a rubbish dump and offered very little promise visually. There was so much rubbish in front of the hill that several truckloads had to be carted away before digging could begin. Over the millennia, the city of Jerusalem has been razed and rebuilt several times. Each time, a new city was simply constructed on top of the old. Ron and his team had begun a job of mammoth proportions. Digging began along the escarpment as planned, straight down. As the face of the cliff was exposed, a large shelf-like niche was noticed cut into the cliff face. Further digging exposed two more niches cut into the cliff, and another smaller niche to their right. Their appearance suggested that they had been cut to hold plaques or signs. Wyatt's team was digging close to the Skull Face, a place that was known for its executions. As for the three niches, Wyatt hypothesized that they were for placing notices stating the crime of the crucifixion victim in the three languages of the day, Hebrew, Greek and Latin. The exploration vicinity, Skull Hill, is believed by many to be the site of the most famous crucifixion. Although not the objective of the excavation, Ron Wyatt sensed that they might find evidence to support this contention. Removing more rubble, the men discovered that a shelf of bedrock extended out from the cliff face by about 2.4 meters, 8 feet. It appeared to be a platform. In the platform lay a large, squarish stone which appeared unnaturally symmetrical. With closer examination, Wyatt discovered apparent finger holds on the sides of the stone, allowing it to be grasped for removal. Raising this stone revealed it to be a plug covering a roughly square hole chiseled into the bedrock. The hole was recessed to prevent the plug from falling all the way in, thus creating an effective lid. Completely empty, the hole had the appearance of a post hole laboriously cut out of solid rock. As the surrounding dirt was cleared away, a large crack was discovered extending out from the hole. The crack didn't appear to be man-made. Instead, it seemed more likely the result of an earth movement. Digging was resumed in front of the platform into an area of packed earth. A lower level of bedrock was struck 1.2 meters, 4 feet, deeper. Once cleared, 3 more squarish holes were discovered chiseled into the lower bedrock in front of the platform. Wyatt believed that these holes were specially made to hold crucifixion crosses. Without doubt, the team had uncovered a crucifixion site. It was located on a ledge in front of a hill facing a public road. Could this be the actual site of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth? Biblical writings tell that this event took place near Skull Hill, the place of the skull, this very place. It was late 1980. The team had now been toiling for nearly 2 years. However, the object of their search continued to elude them. They had checked all along the cliff face with no sign of a cave or tunnel. Yet if the Ark were in that location at all, it would surely be hidden in a cave. Wyatt decided that the time had come to attempt to break through the cliff face. To their delight, they soon broke into a cavity inside the cliff. One young local who had proven very honest and trustworthy was Rafat. Being small and slender, this young man was a real help in squeezing through some of the impossibly tight tunnels of the excavations and reporting everything that he saw. Ron and Rafat followed one particularly difficult passageway which led through a chimney to connect with a tunnel so narrow that Ron had to exhale just to wriggle. With only 45 centimeters, 18 inches clearance, Ron lay on his stomach and inched forward with nothing but the flashlight in his hand. The beam of light shone forward over the huge pile of rocks. Then something shiny caught his eye. Ron began moving the rocks away one at a time. It was slow, tedious work, but soon he found planks of dry, rotted wood just under the rocks. Beneath the planks he found the remains of animal skins so affected by dry rot that when he touched them they turned to powder. The animal skins were laid over a golden table with raised moulding around its side. With adrenaline pumping through his veins and with mounting anticipation, Wyatt scanned the chamber with his torch, whereupon he noticed a crack in the ceiling with an accompanying deposit of a mysterious black substance. Slowly and painfully, Ron crawled over the rocks to the other end of the chamber, where he saw a stone case extending through the rocks. It was a thin-walled case, similar to those used in ancient times for storing objects. The flat stone top was with 8 to 10 centimetres, 3 to 4 inches, of the ceiling, and it was cracked completely in two. Ron moved the smaller section of the cover, creating an opening into the stone case. Although it was too close to the ceiling to look inside, he now knew what must be in that stone case. With that instant realization, Ron passed out. On one of the later expeditions, Wyatt focused his attention on the two cracks in the chamber, one in the ceiling and one in the lid of the stone case, and found them to be in line. He had noticed the crack in the ceiling and its black substance deposit on his first visit to the cave. It almost seemed as if the crack had come down through the rock and leapt through the air to start again by splitting the lid of the stone case directly below, and had dripped through the gap in the stone lid, landing inside the stone case. Some of the substance had also splashed onto the lid of the case. Wyatt took samples of this black substance for later analysis. Preliminary testing of these deposit samples taken from the crack leading from the crosshole has shown the substance to be human blood. Ron Wyatt's theory is that it is the blood of Christ that was copiously spilled when the Roman soldier thrust his spear into Yeshu, Jesus, to confirm that he was dead on the cross. When the authorities ordered Wyatt and his crew to seal up the entrance to the excavation tunnel leading to the chamber, we knew that absolute confirmation of the Ark of the Covenant's discovery would be impossible for the present day. Workmen constructed a steel door to close off the entrance and piled several feet of earth over it to disguise the location. They covered over the cross holes with timber and gravel, since the authorities did not want these revealed. No matter how wonderful and exciting would be the display of the items in that cave, it seems that this will have to wait a while longer.